Folks, black women in the Army are rejoicing now after the military decided to allow women to wear locks, which had previously been banned. There had been concerns over neatness, hygiene, and the ability to wear Army headgear. But last month, the Army changed its Army regulation about grooming to allow male soldiers to wear beards and turbans for religious reasons and to allow locks. Female soldiers had been asking permission to rock that hairstyle for a while. Of course, last year we talked about that on the show as well. Many sisters were really upset by this. I want to go to our panel on this. Again, this was a lot of conversation, folks, on this very issue. Amber, I'll start with you. And again, what's crazy is, I mean, a lot of black women were saying, this is easier for me when it comes to serving in the military, but this whole prohibition against locks? Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of locks, as you can tell.
No, shocking. Really?
But I think also it's good to know not only women can decide how they want to wear their hair. The regulation, in my opinion, is just racist. We know who wears locks, who prefers braids, and it tends to be women of color, specifically black women. So them changing this policy is not just making our lives easier, but if they say they want diversity in the armed forces, then you should allow women to come in as they are, wearing their hair the way that makes sense for them. And that might be locks, which are sickening, and I recommend.
Yolanda?
Well, I have to say, I was heartened to see the military taking the lead on this issue. You know, we've seen in Alabama where a federal appeals court determined that it wasn't discrimination for an employer not to hire someone who had dreads. We also recently had a study come out, the Good Hair Study, that showed that regardless of race, people are biased against black women with natural hair. Right. White women are the most biased and most critical, but we all have these biases. So it's wonderful to see the military taking this progressive stance.
Well, and Jim, what's interesting about this, when you talk about the point that Yolanda just made, first of all, it's no shock a court in Alabama would have that ruling. We're talking about Alabama. But I'm sorry, Jim's not there. My apologies. I thought Jim was still there. Ralph, I'll go to you on this one. But I remember covering an EEOC story where a black woman, supremely qualified for a position, she interviewed for a job, was denied the job because the white folks who were interviewing her didn't like her hairstyle. And she sued them. They lost. It was the Veterans Administration, a Veterans Affairs job, and it goes. And again, it goes to another example of black folks having a hairstyle has nothing to do with qualifications, nothing to do with skill set. Just somebody decides we don't like that hairstyle.
Well, the question regarding hygiene and I forget what the other criteria was, well, that was foolish. Because, you know, locks are just as clean and hygienic as any other hairstyle. The only issue that I think may have had some credence was the question of whether or not, you know, the helmets would fit properly given the hairstyle. And if that answer has been dealt with and there is no safety issues, then there should not be a question regarding whether or not women can wear their hair braided, locked, ponytails, or whatever.
Yeah, but just another example of what it means to be black in America.
Kickstart your day at 7 and get the news you need from the perspective you want. NewsOne Now with Roland Martin, every weekday morning at 7 on TV 1.